أحمد الله رب العالمين حمد عباده الشاكرين الذاكرين حمدا يوافي نعم الله علينا ويكافئ مزيدا، وصلاة وسلاما دائمين متلازمين إلى يوم الدين على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع هداه. أما بعد. All praises are due to Allah, the creator, the cherisher, and the sustainer of this universe. And may his peace and blessings be upon his noble prophet Muhammad and his descendants and his companions and his followers, dear respected brothers and sisters. His tribe loved him so much. His tribe loved him so much. And even all the pagan tribes of Arabia had an immense respect for him, to the extent that they appointed him to judge between them in crucial matters that could have sparked wars. And they accepted his arbitration. His verdicts were always received with happiness. They saw him as the wisest man in Arabia. They even used to call him the trustworthy and the truthful. But all of that changed, suddenly changed. As soon as he said, La ilaha illallah, there is no God except Allah, the love turned to hate. And the respect changed to disrespect. And they tried to defame him. They called him a liar, sorcerer, magician, a lunatic, madman, a poet. Of course, poet is not bad, but they mean that he was a poet who forged the Quran and then claimed that he received it from heaven. And of course, all of this shocked him. What happened? Just a few days ago, they used to respect me and love me. What have happened? Where did all the love go? Where did all the respect go? And the answer came to him from above 7 firmaments, that it is not personal. It's not about his personality at all. It was about the religion itself. It was about the message itself that he was carrying to them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him in the Quran, فَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يُكَذِّبُونَكَ وَلَكِنَّ الظَّالِمِينَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ يَجْحَدُونَ. They are not rejecting you personally. It's just that the evildoers cannot accept this message, are rejecting the verses of Allah, are rejecting the commands of Allah. They do not want to free the slaves. They do not want to give the women the rights that are due to them. They do not want to change. It's not that they cannot change, it's that they don't have the will to change. And they mocked him. And they kept mocking him until today. Because those are the same Islamophobes who are suffering from the same psychological illness called Islamophobia. They mock him as a husband. They speak a lot about his marriages instead of learning from him. He was the example for all husbands. And their societies have a marriage failure rate in the first 3 years of 80%. 80% of the marriages in the West fail in the first 3 years. And they have no shame. They mock him as a husband. They mock him as a nation leader. the one who united peoples from all backgrounds. And I need to tell you that the Arab tribes used to fight each other for many silly reasons. Over a horse race, they can fight each other for 40 years. 40 years. War between tribes over a camel race or a horse race. And hatred in the hearts between them. He united all those people under the banner of La ilaha illallah. And they mock him as a nation leader while racism is eating up their societies, destroying their societies. They mock him as a warrior, while all of the casualties in the battles in his life, the 28 battles, do not even reach 300 or 400. While tens of millions of innocent civilians have died in their crazy wars, and they mock him as a warrior. So, the question is, what is our role towards him? What is our duty towards him? Simply to take him as a role model, to emulate him. And all of us try hard to do that. All of us try hard to emulate him as a husband. Those who are married among us, try to emulate him as a husband, as a spouse. Those who are teachers, try to emulate him as a teacher. Those who are friends, try to emulate him as friends. But who among us tried to emulate him as a abd? He was a abd. He was a servant of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ had a lot of titles that were given to him, but the most honoring title was Abdullah, the servant of Allah. That's the most honoring title of all. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described him in the Quran. In the beginning of Surah Al-Isra, سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله. Glory be to him who sent his abd, his servant, in a night journey from Al-Masjid al-Haram to Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, which Allah have blessed the land around them, which is Palestine. Palestine is a blessed land by the Quran in this verse. Allah also said, فَلَمَّا قَامَ عَبْدُ اللَّهِ يَدْعُوهُ كَادُوا يَكُونُونَ عَلَيْهِ لِبَدًا. And when the servant of Allah stood up praying, they crowded him, almost stifling him. So he was called servant of Allah. The issue is, it's not just a title that was given to him. No. This is how he saw himself. He looked at himself as a abd. He sat eating one day on the floor and he was bowing down. Almost his head was like about to touch the floor. And Lady Aisha said, come on. Why are you hard on yourself like that? Why don't you sit upright and eat and lean on something? I can get you a good cushion that you can lean on and eat comfortably. He said, and who am I? إنما أنا عبد أجلس كما يجلس العبد وآكل كما يأكل العبد. I am just a servant. I sit like a servant and I eat like a servant. Who is that? The best of creation. And he looks at himself like that. How did he enter Mecca? After conquering, when I say Mecca, I don't mean Mecca today, that we go to make Umrah and Hajj and no, I mean the city which its people tortured him and his followers. They put them under embargo for 3 years. For 3 years. The Sahaba starved with the Prophet ﷺ. They saw food but they couldn't eat it because they cannot buy it No one is selling anything to them. No one is buying anything from them. Under embargo for 3 years. They had to eat grass until their feces looked like those of cattle, because they shared the food with the cattle. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas says that during those 3 years of embargo in Sha'b Abi Talib, he said, I stood up urinating one day and then I heard a sound of something solid that my urine is falling on. After I finished, I went and I took it. I found that it's a piece of leather. So I washed it with some water and I ground it and I ate it with water. I swallowed it. They starved. They nearly died. This is how this religion reached you. These generations were not having a nice time, actually. They suffered a lot. They strived a lot of sweat, a lot of sacrifices. Anyway, Mecca, who killed Lady Sumaya when an Islamophobe stabbed her with a spear in her private parts and mutilated the body of his uncle Hamza and ate his liver and did all this to him after 23 years of struggle. When he conquered Mecca, how did he enter Mecca? Did he enter like a conqueror, like a victorious leader of an army? No, he entered like a defeated soldier. He entered like a conquered soldier. His head was bowing down, literally about to touch the camel, the neck of his camel. Why? Why? That was the most glorious day of Islam, when Mecca was open for Islam, but he was aware of the danger of the ego, so he was conquering his ego. That's why I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, who among us try to emulate him as a servant of Allah? Who among us humbles himself like that? Especially at times of success. Especially at time of achievements. The ego is far more dangerous than the shaitan. Shaitan is nothing. Shaitan is weak. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described him in the Quran. إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضَعِيفًا. The plots of the shaitan are weak. Ego is far more dangerous. Actually, who made the shaitan become shaitan? Was there a shaitan before the shaitan that made the shaitan become shaitan? There wasn't. Before the shaitan was a shaitan, he was a beautiful creature called Iblis from the jinn, but he was very close to the angels. They even used to call him the peacock of the angels. And then when Allah created Adam, he ordered all the creation, he ordered the angels, which is the highest of the creation, to prostrate and bow down. Not announcing a new God, of course not, but announcing it's like the launch of this new creature, the VIP creature, the human being. Everybody did and bowed down except one, Iblis. And he rejected the command of God. And God blamed him in the Quran. Why didn't you prostrate yourself to the one that I created with my hands? ما منعك ألا تسجد لما خلقت بيدي إذ أمرتك. He said, because I am better than him. أنا خير منه. I am better than him. Why? You created me from fire and you created him from clay. خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. I am white and he is black. I am European and he is Arab. I am Arab and he is Indian. Isn't it the same? So the very first sin is racism. Go tell Christians that the very first sin is not an apple or a fruit that was eaten from any tree. The very first sin is racism according to Islam. And this is the concept that the world needs today. That the challenge that faces each and every one in this world is not to think himself or herself superior because the race, color, or sex. And God told him, get out from paradise because you cannot act as a racist here. Of course, the verse says, you cannot act arrogantly here. But he was not arrogant because he was rich. He was not arrogant because he was beautiful. He was arrogant because of his race. So according to Islam, racism is the original sin, and racists have no place in paradise. And of course, we don't believe in any inherited sin. But the very first sin is not a fruit that was eaten from a tree. This is what the world needs to know. This is what the world needs today. I want you, brothers and sisters, to imagine that on your way back home, somehow, which will never happen, of course, somehow you receive a message from God telling you that He has forgiven you all your sins, future sins and past sins. Can you imagine that someone receives a message like that? He's forgiven all his sins, future and past sins? Do you think if you receive a message like that you will stand up and pray today? You will definitely take your family and go to Euro Disney. Because done. It's done. Well, the Prophet ﷺ received a message like that. إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ وَيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَيَهْدِيَكَ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا وَيَنْصُرَكَ نَصْرًا عَزِيزًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, truly we have opened up a path to clear triumph for you, Prophet, so that Allah may forgive you your past and future sins, complete His grace upon you, guide you to a straight path, and help you mightily. So when the Prophet ﷺ received this news that all his sins have been forgiven, past and future sins, what was his reaction? He stood up praying all night, crying until his feet swelled. And Lady Aisha told him, why are you doing this to yourself? You are the one whom Allah has forgiven all his sins, past and future sins. He said, أَفَلَا أَكُونُ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا? Can't I be a thankful servant? He was not sincere and humble. Saying that the Prophet was sincere and humble is like unjust. He was the epitome of sincerity and humbleness. He was the embodiment of those two concepts on earth. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He knew how dangerous is I am. I am better than him. I am is your biggest enemy. And he put his ego totally under control. And this is what we should do. Because this I am made the Iblis become shaitan. Yeah, but is any one of us can become shaitan? Yes, of course. Yeah, we're not jinn. Who said that the shayateen are only jinn? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا. And I have assigned, God says in the Quran, I have assigned to every prophet an enemy from among the human devils and the jinn devils. So there are human devils. And the ego turns people into devils. Look at Pharaoh. He said, أَلَيْسَ لِي مُلْكُ مِصْرَ وَهَذِهِ الْأَنْهَارُ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِي. Don't you see that I have sovereignty over Egypt? Egypt at that time was not like Egypt today. We're speaking about the US at that time. Don't I have the sovereignty over Egypt, and those streams and rivers flow underneath me? I have the sovereignty. Qarun, same thing. He said, قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. I have got this wealth because of a knowledge that I have. So dangerous. This I am, this ego, is the source of every evil in this world. The source of racism is the ego. The source of Islamophobia is the ego. The source of every evil in this world is the ego. And we need to be aware of that because Ramadan is starting. And in Ramadan, you have a chance to change yourself. The Prophet ﷺ, for example, said that fasting is not just abstaining from food and drink. Fasting is that when someone harasses you or insults you, You respond by saying, I am fasting. It's like controlling your nerves, controlling your temper, controlling yourself, controlling your desires, controlling your ego. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفرون ما اقول وافوض امري الى الله ان الله بصير بالعباد. The one who repents from a sin is exactly like a sinless person, and Allah loves those who repent. الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونصلي ونسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع هداه. All praises are due to Allah, the Creator, the Cherisher, and the Sustainer of this universe, and may His peace and blessings be upon His noble Prophet Muhammad and his descendants and followers and companions, dear respected brothers and sisters. When I speak about servitude, it equals the word slavery. But slavery to a human being is completely different from servitude to the Creator. Not different, it's exactly opposite. Slavery to a human being is associated with hate. Hate, because of the similarity of the master and the servant. Because of this similarity, both are humans, there is hate between the master and the slave. But when I speak about servitude to Allah, it's associated with love. Love from the master to the servant, and love from the servant to the master. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهُ. Say, if you really love Allah, follow my commands, Allah would love you. See it? Love from us to Allah and love from Allah to us. And this is the perfect scenario of a relationship with Allah. Because there are three different scenarios for a relationship with Allah. There is the scenario of fear, that you do good and you stay away from haram and evil because you fear the punishment of Allah in this life and in the hereafter. And there is the other scenario, which is the scenario of hope or even greed, which is you do the good, you stay away from evil and the haram because you want to enjoy the blessings of Allah in this life and in the hereafter. That's also good. And there's the third scenario, which is the perfect scenario, which is the scenario of love. You do the good. And you stay away from evil because you love Allah. You appreciate His blessings upon you. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm telling you not to fear Allah and not to wish Jannah. I'm not saying so at all. But I'm saying don't limit your relationship to just fear and hope. The relationship of love should always come first. The servitude to Allah increases and strengthens this relationship of love between you and Allah. In the relationship of slavery to a human being, the choice is the right of the master. The master chooses. And the slave should follow the command immediately or he will be punished immediately. The relationship of servitude to Allah, Allah gave you the ability to choose. He tells you what's right and what's wrong, and He encourages you to choose what's right, and He deters you from choosing the wrong, and at the end, it is your choice. And when you disobey Allah, the punishment doesn't come immediately. He keeps encouraging you to correct yourself. He keeps deterring you from continuing in the wrong way. In the relationship of slavery to a human being, the master benefits from the sweat and blood of the slave. But in the relationship of servitude to Allah, It's the other way around. It's the servant who benefits from the blessings of the master. And both of them are opposite to each other, and both of them cannot be in one human being. Either you are a servant of Allah or a slave of a human being or a desire or a material. What breaks your chains and what frees you from the prisons of this life is the servitude to Allah. Because in this life we live in prisons. There is the prison of fear of poverty. That's a prison. There is fear of the future. That's a prison. There is fear from being not loved by the people who love you and that you love them. That's another prison. Who breaks your chains? Your servitude to Allah. You never think about these things again because you have a much stronger and more important relationship. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفرون ما أقول وأفوض أمري إلى الله. Allah, do not condemn us if we forget or fall into error. Oh Allah, do not lay on us a burden like that which you did lay on those before us. Oh Allah, do not lay on us a burden greater than we have the strength to bear. Oh Allah, forgive us. Erase our sins from our records. You are our protector. Grant us victory over the evildoers and over ourselves. Oh Allah, we came to you with so many sins that may fill up this earth, but your mercy and forgiveness are greater, so forgive us, oh Allah. Allah, grant us what you promised us through your messengers. Allah, save us from the shame on the day of judgment. Allah, save the Muslim blood. Oh Allah, save the Muslim souls. Oh Allah, save the Muslim children. Oh Allah, free all the wrongly imprisoned brothers and sisters all over the Muslim world and all over the world. Oh Allah, whoever plans to do good for the Muslims, help him and bless his deeds. Oh Allah, whoever plans to harm Muslims, make his plots return on him and make his destruction in his own plots and show us in him your signs. Oh Allah, grant us your love and the love of whom you love and the love of every deed that gets us closer to your love. Oh Allah, we seek your protection from anxiety and sorrow. We seek your protection from helplessness and laziness. We seek your protection from cowardice and miserliness. We seek your protection from the burden of debts and the tyranny of man. We seek your protection from disbelief and poverty. We seek your protection from the punishment of the grave. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا وسبيلا لمن اهتدى. افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. افتح علينا بركات من السماء وأبعد عنا الحرام والربا. باعد بيننا وبين الحرام والربا كما باعدت بين المشرق والمغرب. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك وحب من يحبك وحب عمل يقربنا إلى حبك. اللهم إنا نسألك يا مولانا أن تفرج كرب المكروبين. اللهم فرج كرب المكروبين، أغث المستغيثين، اللهم فك أسر المأسورين. عليك اللهم بالظالمين والمنافقين، اضرب الظالمين بالظالمين وأخرجنا من بينهم سالمين. وصل اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع هداه وأقم الصلاة.